Okay, everybody, welcome back. That was all the time we had for the interview questions, but next we have gameplay featuring Ino and Anji, the last two characters on the launch roster for Guilty Gear Strive. I know we started a little bit late, so I'm going to try to go through their move lists pretty quickly, just so that I don't step on anybody's toes on the stream schedule. So first up, we're going to be covering Ino, one of the returning characters from the Exert series. So for those of you who've played Ino before, you know that she's a character who thrives on air mobility. Rather than a traditional dash that moves her along the ground, Ino's dash sends her airborne. So she has really good air normals, great air mobility, and some of the best mix-up in the game. It can be a little bit hard to approach with her dash since it forces her to be vulnerable while she's traveling, but it gives her access to extremely fast overheads and lows, lots and lots of great mix-up tools. So for her special moves, it's really how she gets in on the opponent because she lacks the ground game that some of the other characters have. So you're going to be relying on these special moves to lock your opponent down in place, make them block, and then it's your turn to go in on the offensive. So one of her best tools in neutral to cover horizontal space is Chemical Love, which is done with core circle back and kick. So Chemical Love is a long-range projectile that covers a ton of horizontal space. It's a really versatile move in that you can use it as a poke at mid to long range. You can use it as a combo ender to cause a hard knockdown, or a soft knockdown rather. So you're going to be seeing this move a lot, both in neutral and in combos. You can also do it in the air as well for air-to-air attacks. Another horizontal move that Ino has to get on the opponent is Stroke the Big Tree, which is done by doing half circle forward and slash or heavy slash. So this move sends Ino very low to the ground as she travels forward. So it's a great move to avoid the opponent's high attacks, since you'll be able to go underneath them. The slash version goes a little bit shorter distance than the heavy slash version, and they both have different advantages on block. So this is a great move to use mid block string to sort of reset your pressure, or in neutral when you think the opponent's going to throw out a high-hitting attack that you want to evade and get in. You can go in on the offensive by using Stroke the Big Tree. She also has Antidepressant Scale, or as most people call it, just the note, which is core circle back and punch. So Ino will summon a note from her hat that travels across the screen, and the further it goes, the more hits it does. So if you're up close, the note only does one hit, but if you're full screen, it can do up to 5. Another one of Ino's biggest tools in neutral, since she can control the angle at which the note comes out at. If you hold up on the stick as the note comes out, it'll go up. You can hold it to make it go down as well, or even alter its trajectory mid-flight using these inputs. So it's a great move for cutting off your opponent's options, right? You can send it upwards, and now they can't jump anymore. They have to stay grounded. Or you can send it along the ground to force them to block, which lets you go in and do pressure. So moving into Ino's air options, you might have noticed already that she does not have the same kind of air dash as the other characters in the cast. She does not have the sort of slow startup air dash where you have the sigil behind her. She instantly does a down float dash, which is super oppressive, great for movement and mobility and mix-ups. She also has special moves in the air that can also alter her trajectory. So she has Sultry Performance, which is her dive kick that has 3 different variations, all at different angles. So if you do core circle forward and kick, she'll go down at a pretty steep angle. Slash sends you at about a 45-degree angle, and heavy slash sends you completely horizontally. So you can use these on offense to mix up your opponent, alter her air trajectory as you're approaching, and each version also has different properties on hit. So the kick one will leave them on the ground, the slash causes a soft knockdown, and then the heavy slash will pop them up into the air. If you watched her trailer very carefully, she also has follow-ups off of Sultry Performance, where if you press the same button you used for the dive kick, she can hop cancel on hit, which gives her access to some really dirty mix-ups, since you can basically extend your jump pressure by 1 more move. It gives her a ton of options in the air, and you really have to be on the lookout when you're on defense against this character on when she's going to land, since at any point she can stop, go low, or mix you up and go high again with one of her delayed aerial attacks like Jumping Dust, and go for even more offensive pressure. As for her supers, there was a little bit of discourse about how the super worked in the trailer, since it's a little bit different from previous games. So Ultimate Fortissimo is one of the supers you saw in her trailer. So you'll recognize that move if you've played Ino in previous games. There are 2 different versions of the super now. There's an aerial version that starts up instantly, and there's also a ground version, which is a reversal. So while the ground version takes longer to start up, the animation where she's flying up into the air with the kick is actually invincible. So you can use it on Wake Up as a reversal, get off me sort of tool. Or you can use it in the air to sort of pressure your opponent. She also has one more super that you saw in the trailer, but unfortunately it is not finished yet, so we can't show it off to you guys just yet. You'll have to wait a little bit longer for more footage of her. But she is familiar to Ino players from the days of old. A lot of her tools are going to be the same. You're going to see a lot of sweep into note, into overhead pressure. But she also has been translated into the Strive engine, where her mobility is a little bit different. She has some new tricky mix-ups that she can use. Lots of really fun stuff with this character. I think people are going to have a really fun time playing her. So I'm going to swap over to Anji real quick, and we can show off his moveset as well.